Hi there! In today's video, I'm going to be taking you on an impromptu horseradish hunt and then take you through the process of making fire cider. Make sure you stay to the end to get all the tips and tricks to make that fire cider the very best. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Megan and I'm here on YouTube making videos about herbalism and herbalism adjacent things. So let's jump into the video for today. So I am just on a dog walk with Hermes and I thought, I'm in the river valley, why not just check and see if there's any horseradish around and see what the state of harvest is at and if there's any available that I could maybe dig up. Let's go see. Let's go take a look. Horseradish, or Amaracea rusticana, is a member of the Brassicaceae family, which includes veggies like mustard, wasabi, broccoli, and cabbage. It's also a perennial plant and can easily become invasive as it's very hardy and spreads by underground shoots. Even small roots left in the ground, like that half that I left in the ground after that harvest, will sprout new leaves next year. So I just harvested some horseradish in the river valley. So now we're going to drive home and give it a wash and see what it looks like and maybe start the preparation for making some fire cider. Okay, see you there. Okay, now we are going to wash this horseradish that I collected yesterday. So let's give it a wash and then it'll be ready to chop and process. Nicholas Culpeper, a famous medieval herbalist from the 1600s, had this to say about horseradish. The root is great, long, white and ragged, shooting up diverse heads of leaves which may be parted for increase, and is of a strong, sharp and bitter taste, almost like mustard. It is found wild in some places and joys in moist and shadowy places. This plant is under the dominion of Mars. The juice of horseradish given to drink is very effectual for scurvy, which in contemporary times tracks because it is high in vitamin C. He goes on to say, the root bruised and laid to the place grieved with sciatica, joint ache, or the hard swellings of the liver and spleen, does wonderfully help them all. It is heating, drying, and apparative, and frequently used in sauces to create an appetite. As we already know, horseradish is a famous side for heavy, meaty meals, which makes sense as contemporary herbalists point out that horseradish both increases local circulation and increases gastric secretions in the stomach, which help in the digestion and assimilation of rich food. Horseradish has also been used as a chest poultice during pneumonia to both thin out thick phlegm and stimulate the expectoration of stuck mucus. Fire cider is a traditional herbal preparation that was popularized by Rosemary Gladstar, the godmother of Western herbalism. The recipe for this beverage, originally created by Rosemary and a group of students in the 1980s, was developed as a winter tonic drink and has been freely passed around, modified, and sold for decades. Recently, a company, which shall remain unnamed, decided to put their own spin on it, but then turned around and attempted to sue Rosemary Gladstar for trademark infringement. Thankfully, a lengthy legal battle ended in victory for Rosemary and Company, ensuring that anyone can use, make, and sell fire cider for years to come. And while Horseradish is an important part of fire cider. It's not the only part. Most recipes also call for onion, ginger, and garlic, and then the fun additions begin. Spices such as cayenne, pepper, and turmeric, fruits and citrus like lemon, lime, or orange, and herbs like mugwort, nettle, elderberry, rosemary, or echinacea can all be added for a myriad of benefits. In this batch of fire cider, I'm putting in ginger, onion, and garlic, all anti-inflammatory herbs. And I'm adding some lemon I'd kicking around the fridge, mushrooms for the immunomodulating effects, and nettle for its tonifying, nutritive qualities. I want to be super healthy heading into these last 2 months of pregnancy, and having fire cider around will definitely help me to stay one step ahead of cold and flu season. Okay, so now that we have everything chopped up, we can start to assemble in the jars and then cover everything with apple cider vinegar. So what I might have mentioned at the beginning here is one of my favorite things about this recipe is that you really can't go wrong. So here I'm just gonna throw about half of every pile I have in here into the jar. So there are like formal recipes that'll say like, oh, half a cup of horseradish and a quarter cup of ginger and a few teaspoons of cayenne, but I like to just eyeball it. And then we also have our dried mushrooms we're gonna throw in. It's getting a little bit full already. Put our nettles on top. And I think that is all that we have room for. I'm gonna shake a little bit of turmeric in here as well. Oops, a little bit too much. That's okay. But you know, just like I said, you can't screw up with this recipe. I'm gonna get some more apple cider vinegar. Now, if I had a bigger jar, I would be using a larger jar for this, but I don't. So I think for the rest of this, I'm going to use smaller jars and just smaller amounts. But now all you have to do is pour in that beautiful apple cider vinegar. And I'm just going to leave a little bit of room at the top there. But ideally you want to have like at least 3 to 4 inches at the top. The horseradish down below is chopped quite thickly, so it's taking up a lot of room. So I think this will still work out fine. But don't do as I do as I say, and chop up your horseradish and your lemons and anything else you have like a little bit finer, so that you have more, so that more will fit in and you have more room for that apple cider vinegar at the top. Now we just need a lid. Okay, so an important last little tip here for your fire cider, because it is vinegar, you always want to make sure that you're putting some wax paper between the top of the jar and the lid, because that acid will eat away at the metal, and the wax paper just prevents that, because the last thing you want is to have any sort of like metal residue flaking down into your beautiful, delicious fire cider. So that is pretty much finished, and we will always label your herbal concoctions. So this one we're just gonna put on fire cider, November 21st, 2024. If you want to add the ingredients onto the label, that is perfectly great too. Probably a really good idea. Right now, since I know what, I'm gonna be making another one later, so I will put the fine details on it. But for now, I'm just gonna label this guy, just Fire Cider. And there you have it, our finished Fire Cider. So super easy to do. Probably the most time intensive is just finding the horseradish out in the wild. But even that is not that hard. As you saw, just go to a local river, valley, or stream or creek, and you'll probably find some sort of horseradish growing locally that you can haul up, and nobody will probably say anything if you pull it up because they grow in abundance, especially in this area. So thank you for joining me today, actually over the past week, in harvesting horseradish, chopping up all these ingredients and putting them together in our delicious Fire Cider. Just remember that in 3 to 4 weeks, when it's ready to drink, you can add honey to it. You can take out all of the herbs in it, add honey to your taste. Some people like it sweeter, some like it less sweet. Or what I like to do, I just like to leave all of the herbs in there. And then when I feel some kind of like a cough or a tickle coming on, any kind of a cold, I like to take a couple tablespoons in the morning, just straight, no honey added, and just use that as a preventative. And sometimes that's enough to kick out whatever bug is coming on. Sometimes it's not, but it's a really good thing to have in the winter, especially if you are a cold person and you live in a very cold climate. It keeps you very warm. So thank you again for joining me on another video. And yeah, I would love if you subscribed or leave a comment, leave a question, leave a compliment, or something else, and I'll be happy to respond to it. And I'll see you next time. Bye.